Tonight, I'm discussing social capital and development. The world generally is grappling with a lot of challenges, as you are well aware. We have the challenges of war, politics is not working as we would expect. We have the challenges of unemployment of the youth. We have population explosion. These are many challenges. Now it is up to the world leaders to see how they can bring economic growth and development in order to balance the equation. By definition, social capital refers to the internal social and cultural coherence of society. The common saying goes, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And as you may be aware, Africa, in its inception, in time immemorial, had actually one of the best social networks which actually held the people together. Today in the globe, Africa still stands out that its networks, its social activities and culture is unique in the whole world. In this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, I am looking at several aspects of social capital. Particularly, I have handled introduction and the definition, the evolution of social capital, the factors shaping social capital, categories of social capital and other forms of capital, measuring social capital, how can we measure social capital, sustainability and development and social capital. We have looked at the spiritual qualities that go hand in hand with the transition to sustainability, the theory of social capital, benefits of social capital, cost of social capital, lessons for policy, conclusion references, among others. My colleague whom we are handling with this topic will handle some other aspects. In this other particular presentation, some of the aspects I have left for my colleague, and I will highlight a number of them. And in my colleague's presentation, the aspect of social capital will totally be handled. In my introduction, I talked about the definition. There are also other scholarly definitions which you'll find on our slides. I think colleagues, you look into that. I therefore move on to also mention briefly about evolution of social capital. Actually has existed since the beginning of mankind, and the basic social capital actually begins from the family setting, and it has levels from the lower social capital to the top. And as far as wherever man is, wherever activities are, social capital is actually there. You will look at some of the key points which I have enlightened on the evolution of social capital. However, I have some few slides which are of particular interest to me for your understanding of social capital. Particularly, for example, I wanted to mention in detail factors which can shape social capital to date. One of them is your individual character. The individual character is very, very important in shaping social capital. The education of the individual, how exposed you are. The globalization. They say the world has become one global village, but the one global village is not without say that people move along with their traits, and those traits actually tend to influence wherever they will be and live. The social structure of society, we have the religion, you are well aware that different religions have different practices, and those practices actually influence the social uh, capital, how the person looks at the world, uh, according to the training and the teaching of their religion. The environmental influence. If you are in a desert, you will definitely behave in a certain way as compared to people who are in the tropics or who are in other the Scandinavian areas, among others. The language you speak also can actually make you to be identified. You can actually be associated. You can associate very well with the people who speak the same language. Today, the ICT we are using now, actually with many of its functions, is actually influencing very much the mind of our people. I will quickly move on to mention just briefly that the categories of social capital are the bonds, the bridges, and the linkages. Here, particularly the linkages, it can be either forward or backward. Where forward would be you are actually in network with the people above you, and the backward, you are talking of the ladders below you. I would move on very, very quickly to talk about social capital and other forms of capital. There are similarities and differences between social capital and other forms of capital. Colleagues, I think that one on our slides is also very clear. You can look into that briefly. However, I will move on and say, how do we then measure that actually social capital exists? You can measure that social capital exists by, for example, studying the intensity of involvement in community and organization life. If somebody it gets involved into community and organization activities, then you can measure the intensity. Public engagement, e.g. voting, volunteering, like visiting the sick, information, socialization, like visiting friends, is also a tenant. People's perception about you, and so on and so on. Sustainability and social capital. The term sustainability today in the world is one of the key concepts the world is also looking into to make sure that much as we are exploiting the resources to achieve a socio-economic transformation, we should not actually not be responsible for the future generation tomorrow. Sustainability will actually talk about how well are we using, how efficiently the three is economy, efficiency, and the economy, efficiency, and the effectiveness. How well are we using the resources to make sure that the future generations will also preserve for them a livelihood. By definition, sustainability refers to using the resources to meet our needs today, but while not compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. In this presentation, I also particularly under sustainability loved very much to look at the aspect of the environment and the three P's, which the three P's, the people who are the key actors in this social capital aspect, the planet, which we need to preserve, where we live on, and the profit, how to attain the economic growth so desired in a sustainable way. I have a diagram there which we will look at. There is a very big correlation between sustainability and the three P's. And actually today, the world is very concerned that we must make sure that as we are developing, we must develop sustainably. A sustainable development is equitable. Make sure that the resources so good is it distributed equitably for the people of the world to sustain their livelihood. There are very key aspects. For example, if you talk of the spiritual qualities that go hand in hand with the transition to sustainability. Some of the issues I look at: a deep sense of world citizenship. Do you care for the world? Do you care for your brothers and sisters in other continents? Because, for example, if you are producing something and there is pollution, the pollution you produce in another country, there is nobody who controls the atmosphere, can actually be very detrimental to other people in other parts of the world. So we actually expect people to be world citizens as compared to being citizens of their own individual countries. A commitment to justice, another one, an inclination towards treating one another with love and compassion, a commitment to stewardship of the earth, a willingness to sacrifice for the betterment of society. You can forego something for the betterment of society. Detachment from the things of this world, such that your presence in the world should not actually deplete the whole world in its totality. A world citizen wouldn't actually use nuclear weapons in his greed to govern the world. Theories of social capital. We looked at many aspects of social capital, and we briefly said that social capital theory contends that social relationships are resources that can lead to the development and accumulation of human capital. A few other aspects you can look at into it is on the slides. However, in this particular presentation, I was very interested to bring in depth the benefits and the costs of social capital and the policy we can put in place for social capital. First and